So does this sound familiar? You've just released a book and then you go over to your Amazon KDP reports dashboard and you see this, where you're getting low or even sometimes no sales. All of that time and effort and hard work put into creating something that you're really proud of, and then crickets. I'm not ashamed to say that I've been there, and to be honest with you, I think everybody who self-publishes has. Unfortunately, with the large amount of competition that's out there with self-publishing books over on Amazon, this is a fairly regular occurrence. That's why, with my experience of publishing over 150 books and making over $90,000 in royalties, I've found that you have to market your books, otherwise you're going to get no sales. And the most effective way that I've found of marketing my books, especially during the launch phase, is by using Amazon ads. Now, with Amazon ads, it's a bit of a fine balance. You want to make sure you're getting those early sales using advertising, but you don't want to be spending too much money. And in order to make sure that we're finding that balance, I split my ad spend into 3 phases. Phase 1 is launch, phase 2 is optimization, and phase 3 is ongoing. So when we first launched our book, I like to be a little bit more aggressive with my advertising. Those first 4 to 6 weeks are incredibly important when it comes to ranking your books for keywords. From what I've found, if you can have an effective launch, your book is more likely to make sales over the long term. Then after that launch period, which might not be directly profitable, you want to be scaling your ads back a little bit and optimizing them maybe for another 4 to 6 weeks after that. The aim with that is to make them a little bit more directly profitable. The launch phase, we're happy to go a bit bigger and spend a bit more, and then we want to bring them down to being profitable or break even. And then the ongoing phase is for those ads that are running at a profitable ACOS. Those directly profitable ones, I'm happy to keep going for as long as they keep selling. So let me show you what these 3 phases might look like. For the launch phase, we're going to be a little bit more aggressive. And the reason for this is Amazon tends to like new books. From my experience, Amazon tends to give them a little bit of a boost to see if they're going to get any sales. From my experience though, unless you're in a very, very niche down area with low competition, organically it's going to be very hard to rank on that first page of Amazon search results. You're likely going to need to make some sales through Amazon ads in order to rank there. So the main type of ad that we're going to run during that launch phase are going to be keyword ads. So to set up a keyword ad, you just select a sponsored product ad, and then you give your ad group a name, you select your book, and then you want to scroll down and select manual targeting. In here, you want to select keyword targeting and you want to enter your keywords. I always like to enter a custom bid so that I'm controlling what I'm bidding. And to start off with, I'd recommend bidding a relatively high amount that you can bring down during that optimize phase. So it might be something like $1 or 80 cents. Then in terms of the match types, if you know the exact keywords you're trying to rank for, you want to enter them here with the exact match type. If you want to then also target similar keywords to the ones you're entering, the phrase one would work well for you. Whereas if you're not really sure what keywords you want to be targeting and you're just creating something like a dog colouring book, you could enter dog colouring book here with a broad match type. So for this one, I know the keywords that I want to target, so I'm going to use the phrase and exact. So I've got these 3 keywords here, and we're going to click add keywords. You can see here they've got a suggested bid and I'm well above that, which is fine. So when it comes to optimization, there's every chance I can drop these bids down. We're going to leave negative keyword targeting blank, and then we're going to choose down only bids. That means that the max we're going to bid is that $1, but if we're bidding a bit too high, Amazon will also bid a little bit lower than that as well. You can add bid adjustments. So let's say if you want to appear at the top of search, you're happy to spend an extra 10%. I like to do that because that top of search placement is probably where you're going to get the most of your sales. So if you're ranking there for these keywords, your book's going to be seen by more people, then hopefully it's going to lead to more sales. We're going to enter our campaign name. You can enter a portfolio and then you choose a start and end date. For a daily budget, if you just get going, I'd recommend something like $10. But if you're afraid it's going to spend a little bit too much, you could always put something like $5 in there just to see how it goes. But especially when you're launching this new, quite aggressive ad, I'd suggest limiting it at sort of like $10 or $15, depending on what your budget is for the launch phase. So let's set that at $10. I'm not going to increase my bids, and then we click launch campaign. And so here's an example of one of my books that I launched about a month and a half ago. And so you can see here that from 171 clicks, I've got 48 orders. Now the ACOS is a little bit high. My break-even ACOS for this book is around 26-27%. So that ACOS there isn't directly profitable. But what we're doing from this ad is we're getting sales early on in order to try and rank for keywords. That's going to help us to rank organically for those keywords as well. So whilst this ad is getting direct sales, there's also going to be additional organic sales alongside this. So for this launch, over the past month and a half, we spent £117. And then you can see here over the last week or so, I've moved into the optimize phase where we're spending a little less money, getting a little less clicks, but we're also then getting less orders as well. That's because we've launched it effectively, and now we can scale back those ads a little bit as well. So that brings me on to the optimize phase. And in the optimize phase, you're likely going to have three types of ads. You're either going to have an ad that's performing well, like this one, in which case you can just tweak it, maybe dial back the bids a little bit, and then see how it performs over the next few weeks. Else you might have an ad that's spending a little bit too much money and the ACOS is maybe a bit too high. Maybe it's 60, 70, 80% ACOS. You're going to have to dial back those bids quite a lot over the next few weeks in hopes that it gets to a more directly profitable ACOS. From my experience, it's a bit of a 50-50 whether you can bring those bids down effectively. But it's definitely worth trying because the advertising will help you to get sales over the long term. And then the third type of ad is one that's just not running well at all. So you might have had 50 clicks, 100 clicks, and only got like one sale. That conversion rate is just not going to be profitable over the long term, so it's not worth running ads on that book. What you might want to do is revisit the book, see if you can upgrade the cover, maybe improve it in some way so the ads perform a little bit more effectively. But as it stands, that's an ad that I would probably turn off when it comes to the optimization phase. And then let me show you an example of what an ongoing ad would look like. So this is for a book that I launched last year, but I've got ongoing ads going for this book because as you can see here, the ACOS is extremely profitable. The break-even ACOS for this book is around 28%, and for all of my sales throughout this year, it's performing at 12% ACOS. So even though I've spent £273 on this ad, I've achieved 294 orders, which is absolutely incredible. So if you have an ad that's performing as well as this, do not turn it off. Keep it going as long as you can afford to, because this is going to be bringing in direct profit. But from what I've found, it'll also help you to get ongoing organic sales as well in the also bought section, and also keep your book ranking for those keywords. When it comes to keyword ads, when you're optimizing and adjusting your ongoing ads, these are the columns that you want to have ticked. So you want to make sure that you've got your top of search impression share ticked. That's how often it's appearing at the top of search. And then you want to have your clicks, your cost per click, your orders, and your ACOS ticked as well. So with the top of search impression share, ideally you want that to be closer to the 5%, but just slightly above it. That means that your book is still serving there at the top of search a good amount, but you're not bidding a ton of money on it so that it's appearing there 100% at the time. But as you can see here with these ads, this one here is appearing at top of search 10%, 12%, 14%, and then the one at the bottom is 5%. So for me, from my experience, that means that you're going to get a decent amount of impressions, a decent amount of clicks, and then if your book is performing well on these ads, you're going to continue to get sales over the long term. And that's what's happening here with this ad at the top. So from £221 of spend, I've had £1,206 of sales. So that's what I would be doing when I'm launching a book. I would launch it a little bit aggressively using ads in the first 4 to 6 weeks, especially focused on keyword ads. I would then try and optimize those ads to bring that ACOS down as much as you can. And then if it's still serving well and you're getting ongoing sales, I would then adjust the bids ever so slightly to try and get those ongoing sales for that book. That's how I effectively launch a book on Amazon KDP using ads. So that's it for this video. If you've got any other marketing tips that you would like to leave down below when you're launching a book, please drop a comment. Let's help each other be successful self-publishers over on Amazon KDP. Thanks for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.